Mr. Riedel.
Nope. It's Campbell
So, oh,
Robertson.
Campbell, I'm sorry. Campbell Robertson, yes. Go ahead. Well, as I've suggested to everybody before, you know, when the theater owners think that they were blindsided, they were part of this confrontation for months and months and months. We had suggested to the public that we were there to make them, you know, to protect them as well as our brothers and sisters that are working alongside us. After our last 2 negotiating sessions, which the International was part of, they absolutely, it was just going backwards. It was going backwards, and it was at a point where we had gone into under implementation for nearly 3 weeks, and our members were screaming. And it just came to a point that the International came in and said, it's everything that they've said it is. And the International gives me the authority to exercise. They called the time and the date, and they just saw that the negotiations were going backwards, and they needed to defend their local. And they directed me to exercise 10 a.m. this past yesterday. Go ahead.
If you strike for a week, that some shows would close, right?
So the theater owners and producers should have concern for that show and come to the table and make a deal that's honorable.
Is that in your best interest?
It's in everyone's best interest that we protect each other, but I have no other way to protect my local, and I'm going to suggest to the other locals when that time comes for them that we're going to be behind them. Next year, the actors are coming up. You know what? They should get paid more, and we're going to be there to defend that. We have to defend the other locals that are either unwilling or incapable to defend themselves, because this is just a chain. The musicians were before this. Now they're calling the musicians their valued employees, and we're worried about the musicians. They put them out on the street 3 or 4 years ago, but now they're concerned about them. Sir? It's $5.2 million, and it runs out when the strike's over. That's when it runs out. Let me add something too. That's a defense fund, okay? That's a defense fund, not for Local 1. That's a defense fund for everyone in the theater community affected by the loss of this labor dispute. I've heard, you know, I keep hearing from the theater owners and producers that, well, we're concerned about the other people working in the theater and, you know, their jobs are at stake. You know what? Let them match what we're going to give those folks. If they care as much, let them put the money where their mouth is and let them pay the folks what we're going to try to pay for those people. They really care about them, let them pay them. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Because maybe they are doing nothing, they are paying for them for monthly because they are too much. Do you think that's the truth, or what's your opinion?
Are you done?
No.
No, done. I mean, you okay?
No, and then you say, okay, we are not going to go to the table to talk more of the producers until we have something safer. Our lives are going to be safe. What do you mean with that?
Our lives are safe right now. We know that we have minimums that keep us safety and efficiency in the theater. And we have addressed their concerns, and we have in negotiations made, you know, addressed reductions, but they haven't told you that. We have made compromises. It's just never enough. We've granted 9 or 10 things. They want 30 or 40. They cannot go through our contract after 121 years in one negotiation and just annihilate us. It's progressive. We're not stupid. This is a very, very sophisticated unit. I have professionals. We are more than educated in the idea that things evolve and things go forward. And they are not going to just destroy us in one negotiation. You know why they can't? Because they can't do it. We have bargaining strength that really, you know what? We know what it is, and we have to fight for us and the other unions. Progressively, we'll address as time evolves, but not in one shot. We've given 10. They want to go through the whole book, and we can't do it. It would be irresponsible of us. It would be irresponsible of any other union to do so as well. The most significant is, and I'll be very honest about it, and that's why we said, you know, there's room to address it. Right now, if you have, for instance, 32 stagehands on a load-in, right now it requires, if you start the call at 8 a.m. and you go to midnight, all 32 stay on. All 32 stay on from 8 to midnight. We've said at 5 o'clock, you can reduce that number to a minimum number that we've decided. They want the minimum number to be lower. We've said everybody after 5 o'clock, because we're all suggesting here, and the whole theatrical community should understand the idea of you've got to get paid a day for, you know, a day's wages for a day's work. And we said after 5 o'clock, you can reduce down to what your necessary help is. They have not told anybody that, and we have not, because we're not going to negotiate in the paper. We figured that is at least $6,000 a day for every load-in for every show, but nobody has suggested that, and it's not enough. They just keep going on and on and on. There's a lot of things that we've compromised that they've never suggested we've done. That's basically the answer to it. In other areas, you know, for board operations, we've suggested that we compromise in there. We've compromised in at least 9 or 10 different things, but you'll never hear about it. None. That is the most significant.
When they say that you have people standing around doing nothing getting paid,
There could be times. That's not standing around doing nothing. They're not going to tell you about the ancillary jobs that have to go in off stage left and off stage right in the theater. Let me also suggest this too. If they require us to be there 3 hours out of 8 hours, are we supposed to get paid for 3 hours? There's a day's wages for the efforts that need to be at hand. If people are going to just pay you for the 3 hours you're needed, how is anybody going to protect themselves? You ask me at the firehouse, which we all value down there, if they only get paid to put that fire out instead of the time they're waiting for the fire. And you know what? We're going to have a whole lot of problems. And you're going to have a whole lot of families suffering out there. And I wouldn't suggest there's lives at risk like that. But if you need 10 people for 3 hours, that's 3 hours. That's money's well spent. The equipment is so heavy. How are you going to do it? You're going to pay some person that comes to, in these days with the rate of inflation and the cost of living, you're going to tell them to get up in the morning, take a ride into the city, pay the tolls, pay the gas, or even the people in the city. They got to eat during the course of the day, and besides that, it takes away from their opportunity to work somewhere else. These are lives and mortgages and kids to take care of. This isn't about just, let me pay you $60 and so long, because we don't need you anymore today. We can't live that way. We have mouths to feed.